Welcome in, everybody. This is Sportsify. I am your host, Matt Novak. Alongside me, as always, Grant Hawker.
Always. Let's go.
Joining us for the first time after we've asked her for, 3 years-ish and some change, our good friend, Brittany Dunn. Welcome to the show.
Woo! Thank you for finally having me. It's been a long time that I've been begging to come on, so.
Yeah, so I will explain this to everybody right here and right now. I have asked Brittany to come on no less than 35 times, no less. And this is the first time it ever happened.
There's been promises that have on YouTube of Brittany this next week. It's for sure. Locked in.
Locked in.
Didn't happen.
And one time I was ready and I was on and Matt was not. I was forgotten.
No, that is not what happened. Is we switched the night and did it before that. And I definitely did not hear back from you. You just put it in your calendar and then we never talked about it. But that's fine.
Okay.
Anyway.
Get it all out now. Get it all out now.
Get it all out. It's all
It's
good.
his podcast,
it's all
so
good.
I'll let him say what he wants. You go ahead, buddy.
I control the edit, so I can twist this completely.
Make me look real bad whenever he feels like it.
Yeah.
The week 10 of the NFL was an interesting one because what we have been seeing happened in an even more dramatic way, I think. The middle got middler. Like, so many teams, good teams that we think are good anyway, are losing games at a rapid rate. Teams that should have lost, holy cow, pull them out. We're going to talk about a couple of them today, but I was really surprised at the outcome of the Bears game. I was really surprised. I don't know how you're up by, what was that? It was 19 points, and one team lost this week in the fourth quarter. We're going to get to that in just a moment. One coach got fired because his team can't finish a single game, or couldn't, and now he's looking for a new job. And we're not surprised at all because that guy's been on the hot seat for a few years. So it was more of, oh, now's the time. Cool. But let's get to the game of the week. I loved watching a good chunk of this game. It was super fun. Got to watch all the way through the end. The best record in the NFL currently belongs to the Patriots. They take down the Bucs in a one-score game that became Trayvon's coming out party. 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. The dopest look back to the sideline that you'll see maybe ever. It was pretty cool. If you missed his big play, dude takes off for a 70-yarder, kind of curves in right before he gets to the end zone. He's like, you want me to go down? You want me to score? You want me to go down? And they're clearly pushing him to the end zone, which was definitely the right call. Puts it 2 scores out, and you're solid on that. And even though the Bucs did come back and put more points on the board, it was the right thing to do. But my question is, after watching it, Trayvon doing great. Drake May didn't have like his best game of the year or anything, but the running game finally got it going. Because I said going into this game, I had actually picked the Bucs. We did our early in the week episode last week because we didn't think that the Patriots are going to be able to run the ball. And then all of a sudden they did. It leaves you like, okay, here's this really good record, but is this team genuinely good? Are they the best team in the NFL? The record is speaking for them.
I mean, they have some quality wins though. This Bucs team is one that came out of a bye. And Matt, that's why we both picked the Bucs. Because like they're home coming out of a bye. Like that's a recipe for a dubs like 80% of the time. So Todd Bowles had 2 weeks to prepare for this team. Now you probably take a few days off there, but they didn't get it done. And then this Patriots team also beat the Bills. So those are 2 quality wins at least right there. So now they had a couple games there against that they've turned the ball over a lot with the Steelers earlier this year, but that was essentially, this is Drake May's rookie season. And so I still think there's an element of you don't have a lot of tape on this guy. And I don't think that's a slight. How often do we see, let's look at CJ Stroud, for instance, came up, showed up his rookie year, balled out. And we have been waiting for that version of him to come back ever since then. Because the whole thing is you show up, you play, the NFL doesn't have tape on you, then the league adjusts, and then you have to adjust back. And so we haven't seen that from CJ Stroud. And so like the adjustments will come at some point. I remember Brock Purdy showing up and lighting the world on fire. Teams had no idea who this guy was. And I still think this team's really good because they clearly do at this point, just like with the Texans, I think they still do have the right quarterback. Drake May clearly is the quarterback, and they have the head coach. If you got those 2 things, you can win a lot of football games. Look, doesn't mean they're going to go in the Super Bowl this year, but
yeah.
I think that being like 4-13 the past 2 seasons, it at the beginning of the season is not creating trust for me. But then they start out 8-2, and they've got these young guys that are actually doing something, and then I think it's been a slow build of trust because for the past 2 seasons, like going this year, I would have never been like, oh yeah, the Patriots are going to have the best record at this point in the season.
I think we all thought they might be good, and like we're primed to maybe get a
Right.
wild card, get 8 or 9 wins,
Yeah,
you
the
know,
coach
double their
switch.
win total. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vrabel's
big
a dog.
deal. Yeah, we love Vrabel. We're terrified of him. I hope he never watches the show, and because I don't want to have to talk to him about it. Like, we haven't said anything bad. I just want him to know that in case he does watch it. But no, Brittany, your team is actually the only one of the three on here that has played the Patriots and beat the Patriots this year. Obviously, those of you watching can see the terrible towel behind her. She's an unfortunate Steelers fan. We've said nothing but horrible things about your team all year.
Listen,
nothing. But they
they
did beat
deserve
this
it this
team.
year.
Yeah,
They did beat the Patriots, and I don't know how. We beat the
5 turnovers.
Yeah,
You guys convinced them to fumble the ball, remember, 4 times in that game.
the same thing in the Colts game. I mean, we live and die by the turnover, and you're not good if you live and die by the turnover. It gets you a couple wins that you shouldn't. It also loses you a lot of games, and it sucks to watch.
In that game, like going back to it, this was week 3. Rodgers goes 16 to 23 for 139 yards, but has 2 touchdowns and an interception in that game. You guys ran the ball for a total of 64 yards in that game, but 5 turnovers. Again, 4 fumbles that were caused by your terrifying defensive front, which is genuinely I know it's a 3-4, so it's a little different. We don't just say, oh, your defensive line is amazing. Your front 7 is really good. I would say personally that 5 or 6 of your front 7's amazing. And everybody's terrified of TJ, as they should be. But yeah, I think there is a recipe to beating the Patriots when you look through how it's been done in those 2 games. Because you got one of the 2 wins that anybody in the NFL has on this team. Getting them to turn the ball over, playing field position against them can benefit you if you're holding back in the secondary a little bit and forcing underneath throws with Drake. That's where you can get him as a younger quarterback. Kind of seems like he's going to be susceptible a little bit, certain things. And then the combo blitzing. Don't do it to Will Compton because that guy's terrifying and block 3 people at once.
Campbell.
Holy cow. Sorry, I said Compton, didn't I?
Yeah.
My bad. Don't do it to Campbell because he genuinely is great. But like, I think that there's a little bit of a recipe in how they could be beat. But truth is, if they're getting this run game going, though, and you've all of a sudden got to respect that and move your secondary up, this could be really terrifying. And it's funny because, like, it's a team that nobody hates anymore. Like, we used to hate them 6-7 years ago. Oh, I said it. Dang it.
By the way, I got to... Okay, this has to get taken out. This meme has to get taken out to the woodshed. There are NFL previews and trailers using the 6-7 meme. This needs to be given the old Yeller treatment. Take it out back.
Literally the other day, UNC women's basketball game I was watching, and they scored 67 points. The bench loses it. The crowd, I'm like, what are we doing?
Cooper Kupp got a 67-yard touchdown or catch in the game yesterday when our president was in the broadcast booth. The announcer tried to do a 6-7 joke to our president. Like, get
the United States.
He's like, I got more important things to worry about than 6-7.
We got to stop. This thing's got to be done at this point.
The old people are here, and we're doing it, so it will be gone.
And that has to go away. Yeah.
It will die. It will die.
That's true.
I mean, with what I do for a living, I do that in front of students all the time, and I am always trying to annoy them with it now so that it will go away. I hated it for a long time, but everybody's right. You got to lean in. When the old crowd leans, the millennials dive in, and then they get their boomer parents to start doing it on TikTok. It will go away. Absolutely.
Word.
But no, like I again, just bringing up that point on this offense, like they genuinely, if you have to respect the run game of the Patriots, that this could be good. Genuinely a really good team. And again, like I know we hated them a few years ago, but that guy retired and we don't have to mention his name. And they have not clearly been the same. Head coach is gone. The GOAT's gone, and it's a full reboot. There's literally nobody left. They're a young team now, which is weird because it's always been an old team from like 2009 on. It felt like an old team. And here they are, just like fun to watch. Drake May is not boring at all. We're going to bring up his name in a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to call them the best team in the league yet, but they're doing it the right way, and they're growing. Like they're getting better right in front of us. And as we've said for the last month and a half on this show, right now is when we know what everybody is. This team's good.
Mhm.
They are.
Yeah.
And if they can consistently put up 125 to 175 yards on the ground in the NFL, they're going to win a lot of football games. So
I think that,
sure.
I think it's just going to become an issue of when they get to the playoffs, because they're making the playoffs. That's what's going to happen. The issue will be, because this team is young, the experience is going to come into question, and you're going to be playing Josh Allen. You're going to be playing Patrick Mahomes. You're going to be playing probably Lamar Jackson. No offense, Brittany.
They win.
Bring it up.
So, like, you look at those three guys right there, and you go, yeah, you would take those three guys over Drake May in a playoff situation, in a one game elimination, probably. And that's no disrespect to him, but it's because he's essentially a rookie, and it's no slight to them, it's no disrespect to them. But it's in the playoffs, I'm probably going to take those three quarterbacks because they've been there, and one of these guys is one of the greatest we've ever seen right now. And so that's just because there's a chance that they're playing the Chiefs. Maybe if they get this 1 seed, maybe they're playing the Chiefs.
Maybe
somewhere in there.
Hopefully not, but maybe.
So if it's something like that, I'm probably going to take the Chiefs over the Patriots in a scenario like that.
I get that.
But
right now, overall, though, the Colts are clearly their competition. But the Colts got away with one, barely snuck out of Berlin with a win in overtime against Atlanta, 31-25. And the Colts roster should be really grateful that Jonathan Taylor is there. Holy crap.
He's a beast.
186 yards on 35 touches, 2 touchdowns only. That seems small for what he did in this game, but it was an absolute wow. It's the best performance of the year overall by running back, and I'm saying that understanding that my favorite team has CMC on it, and we've seen some amazing ones there, as well as a few other guys around the league. That was incredible. I thought they were going to lose that game for a good chunk. I was getting ready on Sunday, and I'm just kind of watching that out of the corner of my eye the whole time, and I'm like, is Atlanta really going to do that? Are they just going to get that stupid win that they shouldn't get just because? And good teams would do what good teams do. The Colts line, by the way, looked horrible in this game. This is twice in a row that they've allowed 5+ sacks. And I think they're at 11 or 12 for the last 2 weeks. That's awful. But no, they just bring it together. Jonathan Taylor quite literally making incredible moves. And then his wins on the edge in this game were impressive. Just getting to the outside. You saw a couple where he took off. It was really nice. But in that last drive, I will give the O-line some credit. They made some good adjustments. That hole where he goes and scores a touchdown, you could drive a small vehicle through.
Is this the first good international game that we've had, too?
I watched but maybe this year.
Maybe that's what I meant.
This year.
This year.
This year for sure. Because a lot of times these international games, like, it's just bad football. It's just not that good. But this one was, if you went to that game and you're from Berlin, you were happy about that for sure.
I'm going to go back on that real quick because I'm pretty sure Chargers-Chiefs, 27-21 in Sao Paulo.
Oh, that game was in Brazil.
That technically is not overseas. That's technically not overseas.
It's international.
You did not go over an ocean for it.
That's true.
Just the Gulf of America.
That one was really good.
No, that was a good game. I
but
don't get to bring it up ever. That's fun.
What you want to know? What's crazy? Last year we saw one of the best running back seasons ever in Saquon Barkley, like a top 5, probably all time. Obviously, more games, whatever. In the first 10 games in 2024, Saquon Barkley had 1,137 rush yards, 210 receiving yards with 10 total touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, through 10 games, has almost identical rush yards, but 15 rush touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns. So he has 8 more total touchdowns than Saquon did at this point through the year.
That's wild.
With identical numbers, like in terms of like Jonathan Taylor all had 260 receiving, Saquon had 210 receiving, but right around 1,100 yards, both of them through 10 games. But the touchdowns and this is what happens when you don't have a quarterback who pushes it at the 1-yard line for sure. But also, like, Jonathan Taylor we're seeing a back-to-back historic running back seasons right now.
Dude, he's so much fun to watch.
He's awesome.
Genuinely great. The weeks that his line puts it together for him, are fantastic. By the way, this was Sauce Gardner's first game with the Colts, but also his first win of the year because he did not play when the Jets beat the Bengals. He was injured that week. That's the one game he missed. It was their win. They'd beat Jake Browning without him. It wasn't real tough. But yeah, so this dude in week 10 of the NFL season gets his first dub of the year.
Can you
That's
imagine
brutal.
though being stuck on the Jets and then getting to move over like just in 1 minute to
Dude,
one
you
of the best teams in
you
the
go to
NFL,
bed like 1-7, wake up 7-2, bro.
You wake up on the Colts. I'm like done.
But Mitchell, who's the guy that dropped the ball at the line for the Colts and cost them one of those losses or made it happen, basically. That was
Yeah.
the difference in that game. He got
against the
shipped
Rams?
to the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor
That's
poor
fair.
guy. I bet he was like, you know what? Yeah, I deserve that.
Yeah.
The
And
Colts saw that and are like, you know where you belong.
what's worse?
Jets. Have fun.
You know what's worse though than like ending up on a losing team is ending up in a state where you have to pay like 48% taxes
Ooh.
on your paycheck,
No
which
kidding.
is also a That's one of the things that I think about every time I watch a dude change teams. I'm just like, did he go to Florida or Texas? No. Oh, his life
Nope.
sucks. Then. Tennessee's not bad actually.
Washington does not have state income either.
Oh, that's true. State,
So,
yes.
State, yeah.
They still, yeah. I mean that is true. It's not a combined tax, but dude, New York's income tax is like wild. Nobody wants to go there. That's why like
Teams all
California
suck.
pays more of their guys, or they pay their guys a little bit more.
Yeah,
when they
you have
sign those
to.
contracts in California. You have to.
Yeah.
Plus, you have like companies that have to come alongside and do those like advertisements with them. They're like, hey, we're gonna pay you this much, but then Levi's, for a 49er free agent, for instance, is going to do a commercial with you, and they're going to
make that back.
you. Yep.
Gosh.
All this. They have to do that in New York and California, though. But I do genuinely think about that quite often. Let's get to another team in the AFC that has a good record, but I don't think they're that good because they played in the worst game possibly in the last 50 years.
And if
of
you
the
don't
NFL.
remember it because you wiped it from your memory, we're talking about the Broncos Raiders, by the way.
Oh
Thursday
my
night.
gosh.
It's terrible.
Thursday night was horrible. Yeah, the Broncos are a 2-loss team, okay? But playing the Raiders, this was absolutely insane what happened this last week. It was a dumpster fire of dumpster fires. I genuinely watched the entire thing. Okay?
I
didn't have
stopped.
anything to do
Well,
Thursday night.
I
And
had
so
it in background
watched,
noise.
I watched the whole thing. It was pretty miserable.
It was painful.
Yes, it really
And
was.
not like in the, oh my gosh, this is a great defensive game. Because it wasn't that, it somehow was not a good defensive game despite it being 10-7 because both teams were like, here's the ball. You can have it back. No, you can have it back. You have it back. It's it was so bad.
If you're watching two like defensive powerhouses that are like just like grinding it out, then great. But this was boring. There wasn't anything good. I don't know how they beat the Eagles. I don't know how they scored 44 points against the Cowboys that one time. This is crazy.
It's
This team
horrible.
is not that good.
There was 13 3-and-outs. There was 15 punts. There was 3 interceptions, 2 missed field goals, a blocked punt, 8 sacks, 5 of which were on Geno in the first half. More than
Geno's
half
getting
of the
killed.
Raiders. Oh, he's just dying.
Dude,
out
like
there.
limping. He's limping into the medical tent.
They-
And then the Broncos give the ball right back, and he has to hobble back there.
What's his face? Pickett comes out for 3 plays, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's worse than Geno." And they
gotta put
Geno on
Geno
one
back
leg
in.
is better than that guy. Throw him back out there. And because of that, though, more than half the Raiders' drives didn't go further than 2 yards.
Ugh.
It's so boring.
in, okay. And then on top of all that, the Broncos Raiders was just the second NFL game since 1950 to have more penalties than first downs. The other game, which I mentioned, it was about 50 years ago. It was played in 1976. Okay. I happened to look up the weather for that game and all that stuff. Atrocious. Wind, rain, sideways, all that stuff. Couldn't hear a dang thing. Couldn't see a dang thing. That's how you end up with it. But they had 22 penalties in this game between the two teams. Both had 11. Absolutely disgusting. And if you missed it, I did a quick hitter on this last week and we posted it. But Sean Payton called one of the worst calls I've ever seen a team like make. On a 3rd and 1 on the Raiders side of the field, he throws a double pass. So throws it down to Cortland Sutton. It's not a read option kind of thing that you've seen like happen in college quite a bit in the last few years. It's an honest, true, like we kicked out the line. Cortland's going to become the quarterback and throw it down on 3rd and freaking 1 with a great running quarterback in Bo Nix, who's really good at getting first downs and short yardage. That's what they did.
Also, in like the second quarter, This wasn't
mid third.
Oh, it was mid-third?
Yep.
Okay.
Mid-third quarter.
Usually you do that crap at the very end of the game to try and get a spark, so I guess it's towards the end of the game. I thought it was like in the second quarter or something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
still, like, they were moving the ball for the first time. That was their first possession of the second half. Like,
And
they
then
were
Sean
actually-
Payton's,
Nope.
we're
Don't
moving
wanna
the ball,
score.
guys.
Just wanna give it
Guys
back
are
to
moving the ball too
Gino.
much.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're just going to break his leg and hope that he can't get the ball down the field. That's our game plan for the rest of the day. It was horrible. But, like, when you look at what this team's done, moving on from that specific game, they have only beaten these following quarterbacks: Cam Ward, Jake Browning, Jackson Dart, Justin Fields, Davis Mills. Okay? In 6 of their 8 wins, and then you include Gino in that 6 of 8. The other 2, respectable win against the Eagles several weeks ago now, and that was a 4-point win. And then, as Brittany mentioned, they beat the Cowboys and scored 44 in that game. But scoring
it's the
44 against
Cowboys'
anybody is not nothing.
defense.
Yeah, but it's
Still,
against
yes.
anybody, it's not nothing. Like,
Yes.
we went off on the Bengals' historic defense that gave up just enough points to lose after they scored, what was it, 42? Something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like scoring 40-plus against anybody is pretty good. I just cannot believe that we're sitting here with this team only having 2 losses at this point, and we're having to say this out loud. Are they actually good? Are the Broncos going into week 11, 7-2? Are they good?
No. Cam Ward, Jake Browning, Jackson Dart, Justin Fields, Davis Mills, Geno Smith. Wow, real gauntlet you got there, buddy.
The
game is
schedule
You're
not
supposed
high.
to win. You're supposed to win, but like they haven't.
Again, maybe it's
one
the
good
like
team.
again when it comes to the playoffs because they're going to make the playoffs because of this record. Again, same argument with the Patriots. They're going to face.
Betting against them.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to bet against them.
every time. And these poor Raiders, like, this is not for them to only win by this little of a margin. The Raiders are terrible. Like, they since 2003 have had 2 winning seasons. This will not be one of them. They are only on track for 4 to 5 wins, and then you sneak out this win, and I don't get it. That you can't call yourself this amazing team, and then I just think that I think with the Patriots, I think that they're as good as their record. I'm like nervous to call them elite, but I think they're as good as their record. I don't think the Broncos are as good as their record.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's actually a great way to say that. Is the Patriots look like they earned that record? And I work with a couple of people that hate the Broncos, so it comes up all the time that Bo Nick sucks and the Raiders are garbage. The Raiders are garbage. The Broncos are garbage. They'd love that I said that. But no, it comes up all the time, them talking crap about the Broncos, and they're like, look at the stats, though, Matt. Look at the stats. And I've been a defender. I can't defend what just happened on Thursday. You can't do it.
Me and Jameson were both like looking at this team, and we were the ones not high on the Broncos coming. Not high, but not like 11, 12 wins. We were like probably going to win 9 or 10 again. But because they've already won 7, they're going to get more wins than last year.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
But we looked at the schedule, and I went and I said what I said. Granted, we weren't planning on Jake Browning playing football this year when we talked about it, but I knew, or Davis Mills. CJ got the concussion there in I think that was the second quarter of that game, and Davis had to play the rest of it on a limited script. But I looked at that and I was like, man, they could easily, just because of the record, the previous year's record and their schedule and how all that was going to line up, like they could win 10 or 11 based on that. And I expected them to, and they're clearly going to get there at this point. But man, it's going to be ugly all the way to the end.
I think if whatever team would match up against the Broncos would be thrilled in the playoffs.
Let's go.
That would pull
let's go
them.
look at it real quick because we're going to get into a couple of teams right now. The Chargers get a win this week against somebody's team on this call. They are 7-3. Looked really convincing on Sunday night. That's safety, dude.
Listen,
dude, I texted our group chat and I was like, Aaron Rodgers looked like he was 83 years old when he took that safety.
So old.
Like that safety, like he's
photo
like,
of his helmet.
Like, you know what? Doesn't even look like him. It looks like a cartoon character. But number 2, I agree. The Chargers look good, but the Steelers looked horrendous.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to take anything away from the Chargers, but it was like I literally turned the game on. This is garbage. Mike Tomlin after the game, they're like, how would you assess Aaron's performance? And in true Mike Tomlin fashion, he's like, how would you? Next question. This guy we had a couple of games at the beginning where they're like, oh my gosh, is Aaron Rodgers better than his age? And I'm like, no, do not let him fool you. And this is the 3rd multi-interception game that he's had in this entire season, he's not good. Like, he's not a QB1, and I don't.
And that was never. It's like, this is new for Rodgers, because he's the dude that would throw 3 picks a game a season. He'd only throw 3 picks.
Single digits.
He's like the king. He's like the king of the TD interception ratio.
Yep.
But now it's just, I'm just gonna turn it over like Geno Smith is.
And granted, he's not throwing to like Puka or like Jamar Chase or something. Like, he's throwing to DK Metcalf, who
that's a $30 million receiver you're talking about.
I understand that, but brother is not a spring chicken no more either.
And also,
like Calvin Austin, we're not talking about these giants of football, but it's bad. It's bad. He played horrendous.
He did. No, it was really bad. And looking to the other side of the field in the Chargers, they're getting wins that they need to get. Okay.
Yeah.
They need these types of wins right now, specifically because, as we highlighted last week, they've been hit with the injury bug. You know, your rookie running back is on the IR, battling back. You're down to basically, they elevated their third string guy, Vidal, and made him the starter just because he had some explosive runs. He looked good again this week, which, by the way, if you want to beat the Steelers, run the ball. That's literally
that's the key.
Steelers.
Yep.
Run the ball and make those DBs come in and then throw the ball over their heads. But we talked about Joe Alt going out and how big of a deal that was and all that. And then they come back, secure a temporary left tackle, and then come back and look genuinely good. And it's solid. This is how they need to win games: is mid-20s, play really good defense, and make sure that you're on top of the field position game. That is literally the Harbaugh mentality. And I'm talking about both of them. Jim and John do it the same way. Like, control with defense in the trenches, win there. We don't need to score 30 points. We need to score 25, and our opponent cannot score more than 3 touchdowns ever. That's just the way we're going to win it. And as long as the ball is that far onto the other side of the field and we have a good punter and a good kicker on our side, we're going to be okay. And it's working right now. I was genuinely surprised. We're Herbert fans. We all love Herbert. We never say anything bad about him, ever. Why would you? He's a bazillionaire. He's prettier than the average male. That took a little while, but he got there. He got LA'd for sure.
He got LA'd.
I said that exactly how I said that on purpose. We can post that on the internet. But, like, there's nothing bad there. And then when he gets the opportunity to play consistent ball like this, it translates over. Another team that's hanging in there right now, but look really bad this week, was the Bills. They're at 6-3. That's another competitor for that, like, low-end playoff spot. They beat the Chiefs last week by 7. Chiefs took this week off. They're, like, I think they're the number 8 team right now if you were looking at playoff standings in the AFC. I think Chiefs? That's exactly where they're sitting. Yeah.
The Chiefs are 8. I haven't pulled up right now.
Yeah,
Yep.
And Bills would be right there. They have gone from being the king of the division, though, to surrendering that this week to the Patriots. And, like, I mentioned they got just wrecked, 30-13. They looked, I don't use this term lightly or very often. They literally looked hungover, like, just unable to.
Yeah.
It seems like them beating the Chiefs last week was their Super Bowl a little bit.
Yeah.
Is what it, like,
just dumb.
And that score was way closer than the game was. Like, them scoring at the end, like,
Garbage
it was
time.
not that close.
Yeah,
Even 17 points. Like, it was more than 17. If you're really
yeah.
I think the Bills are kind of like the Packers of the NFC, where it's like, they should be good, but why are you losing to the Bills right now? Why are you getting smoked by the Falcons right now in the Bills case? Why are the Packers losing to the Browns and the Panthers? This team should be in this, like, you should be saying, yeah, they're going to the Super Bowl with both the Packers and the Bills, and then they're just, like, dropping these games they should. And, like, you got to beat the bad teams. If you want to be in contention, you got to beat the bad teams. You got to win the games you're supposed to win. And then you lose the close ones here and there to those good teams. That's how you're supposed to do it. But I don't know. This loss really, to me, made me really question what the Bills are going to do, like, for real. And I'm not trying to be a captive of the moment, but when you lose to this Dolphins team, that's horrendous. A Tua-led Dolphins team put up 30 points on you. That's inexcusable. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what else is going on. Tua dropped 30 on you.
We're through 10 weeks of football. 2 of their 3 losses have been to teams with 3 wins. That should not happen to a team with a winning record. Like, you got to win. Like you said, you got to win those games. They already had their wake-up moment with the Falcons. Like they already had that little slap to the face.
But yeah. Oh, by the
Like-
way, yeah, this is the most points this Dolphins offense has scored. This is an offense
Not
that
good.
this is an offense. Oh my gosh, this is an offense the past 3 weeks before that scored 6, 10, and 6. So they've scored 22 combined points in the previous 3 games
And then they
Before-
scored 30 in 1 week.
on the Bills.
All
That's
the
cause for
Dolphins need
concern.
to do is fire their GM because that really impacts like how you play the game. They just need to fire the GM and then they unlock the secret to moving forward to winning games. Beautiful.
Also, the Commanders and Dolphins play an international game this week.
Oh, I know. I
Oh,
know. Because when we get to pick them, we have to pick that game today.
I feel so bad for whoever is.
Why are we sending the international? Why we're like, here, guys, we hope you enjoy American football. Here's the Commanders Dolphins. Have fun. Like,
know.
why are we doing that?
I don't
Here-
know.
Here's these 2 teams. We nicknamed them Crockpot and the Ambulance.
Oh my gosh, bro.
If you've seen the joke enough, Jameson will appreciate that hit. But no,
Oh,
we usually do
so
send
bad.
them our worst. It's what we do. The Jaguars have been over there a lot, a ton.
There
While
were-
they were
There was a
was
Bryce
going
Young
on?
versus Daniel Jones international game last year.
yeah,
And that was a
absolutely.
different Daniel Jones than
That was New
Daniel
York
Jones
game.
today.
That was
three
nice.
times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was not Indiana Jones.
That
That was
was
Danny
rough.
Dimes.
That was rookie year Bryce Young. So Yikes.
It was really bad. It's really interesting where the AFC is at because with the exception of the Patriots, right now, I think, and I'm going to say this out loud, and it's going to sound stupid for half a beat, but then everybody's going to go, yeah. I think the best team in the AFC is not the Patriots, is the Ravens. They are 4-5. And with Lamar, they are terrifying. Like, bro came in and took care of the Dolphins as soon as he comes back. Then he goes and takes on Minnesota at Minnesota and handed it out this last week. Played great football. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, 3 touchdowns and 300 yards football, but it's good football, winning football. He didn't have to do a ton. Minnesota made some mistakes in that game, but Lamar coming back puts a lot of energy into a team that was just 2-5 a few weeks ago. And I love what the Ravens are with him. That football team is made for him. There's no other team, in my opinion, that's more dependent on their quarterback than him. You could make that case for Mahomes and Josh Allen specifically. I think the Bucs really struggle without Baker for sure, but I think that I'm 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E here. But really, I think Lamar is super important, and I love that team when he's playing. I think they're just dangerous.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to play them.
yeah,
No, I know. Like
Constant.
at the beginning of the year, everybody was really like, "Oh, this 2-5," and as a Steeler fan, I loved it because we
Yeah, I
were
get that.
not as terrible, and I hate the Ravens. But I was telling people, I was like, guys, I don't know that they're as down and out as everybody says they are because when Lamar comes back, this is a good team that I think that you have the dip now and then you figure it out and then you trend upwards
Yep.
at the right time. I don't think that they're out. And I agree, like the way that Lamar goes, the team goes. So now he's back from injury and they're figuring it out. And Derrick Henry has decided to hold on to the football and not fumble it all of the time.
Yep.
Then I think that they're dangerous. I think
And-
they win I think that everyone's, oh, the Steelers are going to be number 1 in the division. False.
Right.
It's the Ravens.
They have 2 tough games on the schedule, in my opinion. Like for the rest of the way, the
That's what I was
Ravens are
about to pull up.
playing.
Yep.
Their Ravens are playing the Browns this week. They got the Jets the week after. They're playing the Bengals the week after that. 3-0 automatic. We're looking
Yeah.
at a 7-5 team in 3 games. Then they are hosting your Steelers, who I believe are trending downward. Then they get the Bengals again. Okay, so I'm going to call them 9-5 right there. Then they play the Patriots. That is a game you want to circle. That is right before Christmas, the 21st of December. Love that on the schedule. The week after, they have the flex Saturday-Sunday game with the Packers. And then they are playing your Steelers again. So their last 3 games are tough in terms of like how it falls on the schedule. Playing the Steelers in Pittsburgh at the end of the season.
A division
nobody really
game.
wants to do that.
Yeah.
A division game. It's cold. I get all that.
NFC
Everything
North
may
too.
be on the
They
line.
bro, the Browns have been terrible, but they still play all their division opponents hard.
You still have to play
Play-
football against the most terrifying guy in the NFL when you play the Browns.
Yeah.
There's no one scarier than Myles Garrett. No offense, TJ Watt. No offense to any linebacker out there that just cruises through the line and just demolishes human beings for a living. But like Myles Garrett's the most scary human being out there, period.
He also might have checked
Genuinely-
his helmet, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
There's other scary reasons. But the Steeler Ravens game at Pittsburgh, even in Baltimore, is always a really good game. The two teams just play different. It's one of my favorite rivalries, and part of it's obviously I'm a Steeler fan. But you hear him talked about, like, it's a big game. I don't know that we still win. I would love to, but I think the Ravens, like, they're the team right now that it's okay. That's gonna happen.
And two, what I'll say is there's this narrative still over their head a little bit because that this defense sucks, because it was terrible the first like month of the season. But if you look at their last, I think it's last 2, 3, 4, the last 4 games, they've kept all their opponents under 20 points in those games. So the defense has turned the corner. I'm not saying they're elite, but what I'm saying is that you're asking Lamar Jackson to go out there and score over 20 points right now. Absolutely. That's absolutely, he will do that for you. Yeah, this team's coming around. Absolutely. They were still the favorites to win the division like 2 weeks ago, even when the Steelers were winning a couple games and the Ravens were still struggling through it. But yeah, man.
There's one other team that we thought might be a contender. I said they were fool's gold after week 4. Watching them play the Niners, I didn't like how they played ball at all. Didn't make any sense. The Texans this week got a 36-29 win over the Jaguars. We still have a winning record right now, 5-4. But what the crud are you doing when you go into the fourth quarter? I said the Texans won 36-29. I want to keep in mind that Davis Mills was playing quarterback, not CJ Stroud for this entire game. Not CJ Stroud. At 29-10 was the score entering the fourth quarter. The Texans scored 26 points to close out this game in the fourth quarter. Holy crud. How do you let that happen? I understand it's a rookie coach in Liam Cohen. Like, it was ridiculous. Over the last 3 possessions the Jaguars had, they got a combined 9 plays. Okay, so 3 3-and-outs. They netted 1 yard. 1 yard in the fourth quarter. Cohen's got to answer for that. I heard the press conference. Oh, it was this, it was that. Don't want to blame any players, yada, yada, whatever. In the first 2 possessions when they didn't need to score, Jaguars had 3 runs, 3 passes. You've got to just run the ball, like, period.
Oh, you do.
And we're going to talk about a team who did a great job of taking their foot off the gas and just running the crud out of the ball in the second half and decimating an opponent this week. But the Jaguars had the opportunity to do that. One thing I think that they really need to do is look at that run game with Travis is just not like he's not.
Yeah.
Like, he hits the line and goes nowhere often. And we thought he'd figured it out for a minute, but like when you
he had a great start to the season.
Yeah.
And then
it just seems like he does not understand contact always, head forward, drive your feet, get it done, because he was going backwards way too often. But again, Cohen's just got to answer for this. Play selection's got to be there. You got to run the ball out. There should not have been enough time for Davis freaking Mills. You guys should have seen some of the throws he was making. The play calling was incredible. The space that his receivers were getting was amazing because he's not good at all. That is the backup of backups. Like, he needs to be maybe a third quarterback emergency style for somebody. He shouldn't be coming in a game.
practice squad dude. Yeah.
Legitimately. Longest neck in the NFL, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Holy cow, that thing's ridiculous. Really frustrating, honestly, to watch the Jaguars. I knew that they weren't good, and it's cool to be affirmed and everything, but 19 points should not be something that a team can overcome in the fourth quarter.
What you're saying, Matt, is 100% true because it's a coaching thing. Like that. That's why Brian Dable got fired. Like, he gave up how many leads, like double-digit leads in the fourth quarter in games, and it's a coaching thing because you're not coaching your team through those scenarios because you have to understand your goal is not to run up a score and to stat pad. Your goal is to get freaking wins. Who cares how cute you look in the fourth quarter? Like, just take your foot up the gas, run the stinking ball, run it for 3 plays in a row, and just go home. That's what you need to do.
26 points isn't a bad day, like in a whole day, but then 26 points unanswered in the fourth quarter by a team that's not great. Good. And like you were saying, doesn't even have CJ Stroud. And then Davis Mills you're letting him literally run in touchdowns too. Like, not only throwing them, but he himself ran one. And I was like,
that go ahead to the left corner. Yes. He got the edge and just took off. And it was really funny, by the way. If you zoom in on that, you could see his face when he's diving in. He knows he's going to die. He's doing that little kid like, I'm about to get murdered. And then the guy just rolled right over him. He's
worth it.
By the way, we are getting treated to another gem of a primetime game this week, capping off the week with an amazing 3-0 Eagles lead over the Packers. Fourth quarter
It's
just
still
started.
Fourth quarter?
3-0. We're just the NFL's. Hey, we're gonna have a crappy Thursday night to start the week, and then an even crappier
end it
with some more garbage. Which
but
that's
it shouldn't
really
be this crappy though.
oh, these should be two. This is a playoff matchup right here. This is two teams that should face each other in the playoffs and be good. Like what the crud.
The Raiders Broncos, fine, it still was terrible, but you expect a little bit less. But the Eagles Packers, this should not be 3-0 right now. I don't understand what like the Packers. Like you were talking about earlier, losing to the Panthers, losing the
tying with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't get what they're. I don't know, and I like Matt LaFleur for the most part, but I think that at some point we've got to start asking questions of Matt LaFleur too.
Don't disagree.
Absolutely.
You've asked some of those questions because it. How often are you good, or how long are you going to be good with okay? And I wanted to bring this up today, okay? Because today, as Grant just mentioned nonchalantly, buried the lead we're going to talk about, Brian Daboll got fired, but Brian Daboll has one playoff win in his time in New York. The Steelers and Mike Tomlin have 0 during that same time allotment.
It's even longer in that time allotment.
And Matt LaFleur has won some playoff games, but can't seem to get past the 49ers.
The NFC Championship, yeah.
Can't do it. And you got to ask that question, like, how good are we with mediocrity? Because mediocrity, as I would define it, is getting to a place where you could be ultimately successful, but stalling out. Like, just being okay with good, not great. As we described the Steelers this year, we talked about how they're mid, not great. And they seem to be okay with it, as is Mike Tomlin, in my opinion, just from the way that you watch the Steelers attack games. Going back, though, to the Packers, like, Matt LaFleur is competitive as they come. He looks like a psycho on the sideline sometimes, very intense facial expressions throughout. But you, like, watch him coach a game, and in the regular season, he seems to have all those little nuts and bolts just kind of working. Now, granted, this year we talked about how they did some weird stuff that landed them with a tie and 2 losses that they shouldn't have. But we play this out. Let's double all the weeks here. Let's say they score a touchdown in this game. They beat the Eagles. Okay. This team would then be, are they 6-2-1? I got that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. They're 6-2-1 at that point. So we'd be through 9. We got 8 to go. They, at the very worst, in my opinion, go 5-3 on the way out here. This team ends up 11-5-1. By all accounts, good season. 11 wins in the NFL is a good season. But we don't have any trust in them to win a playoff game, to move forward. Nobody thinks that they have it.
Jordan Love is this. Like
all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He can get got. He absolutely can. He's been sacked 3 times in this game, by the way. Like, he can get got. That offensive line can get got. They can't get there. At what point do you just say enough is enough? And I understand the Packers don't make changes lightly. That is not, right. And it's different there because they have basically elected officials that run the team in the way that works with having the fans be the owners. But I look at some of these teams that are good, not great, and I'm like, how long do you just sit in good, not great mode? What point?
Yeah, that's why Pete Carroll's not the coach of the Seahawks anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he's the greatest coach in franchise history and probably will always be. But how many 9-win seasons? That's a winning record. But they were like, "Hey, man, we're tired of this."
Here. Yeah.
And so they went off and made a decision to cut a guy a couple years earlier than probably most would have liked. But now, look at what the Seahawks are doing.
And that was the McCarthy problem.
Yep.
LaFleur answered the McCarthy problem because McCarthy did the same thing Carroll did. He got the dub and then
pretty early in the coaching career, rested on that for a while, had some
freaking loaded roster when he got it, just for the record.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've even had that brought up about Shanahan, which I think that's a little bit unfair. You could literally mark all of his seasons with insane amounts of injuries that have nothing to do with the way that he coaches. Like the Niners, that was fun. We went on a journey there for a second. If the Niners were to end up with a winning record this season, like we just say that's a dub based on the amount of injuries that they've incurred. And you could say that about certain guys around the league and maybe, give them a pass here and there. But McDermott's not getting away with it. He's been on the hot seat. That's been pretty clear. Tomlin, it seems like, has been in the hot seat a little bit, but we have not had that or seen that same thing for LaFleur at this point. Be really interesting to see how the rest of the season goes and if that becomes a thing.
I also, we chatted a little bit about it today with Daboll being gone. there's not a whole lot of options immediately that jump out like there have been the last couple of years. As much as I think Mike Tomlin should be done, peace and love to your team, I don't know what's better out there at this point.
Yeah.
There's not like a Ben Johnson. There's not some of these guys who are like, yeah, these are like the next guys, up. These guys have got to have coaching jobs. I can't, for the Giants, man, I'm like, I don't know what Mike McCarthy is out there.
That's
like
fair, because what unit right now is performing at a high level to where you're like, I want that coordinator.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing anything consistent that we would see that and go, yeah, I want to do that.
The Packers, they don't make changes lightly, but the Steelers, they've only had 3 head coaches since 1969. They had Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, and Mike Tomlin. And so we obviously don't make those decisions lightly either. And I've been a diehard for Mike Tomlin. Like, he's part of the reason I became a Steeler fan.
Yeah.
And chose him and Troy Polamalu.
He's great.
And so it's like, these are the guys. This is my guy. But I agree. On one hand, last year we're like, 18 seasons. He's had a winning record, longest streak. And I'm like, we were 9-8. I don't care. We don't get a draft pick, and we also don't win the Super Bowl. So what's the point? And then this year, I was like, we're going to have another 9-8-ish season, and we're still not going to get draft picks, and we're still not going to win the Super Bowl. And it's frustrating to sit here and watch, like you said, like the middle's got middler, and the Steelers are absolutely a middle team. But I agree with you, Grant. Like, I'm looking around the league, and I'm like, okay, so who would I want? Because there are intangibles that Mike Tomlin does, like culture and things like that I'm like, I don't want Brian Dable. I don't want him in my life. Like, so it's like, who am I going to get if we let go of Mike Tomlin? Maybe a new face sparks something. Maybe but I don't know for the Steelers necessarily that Mike Tomlin is the issue. And it's hard, right? We could sit here and say, oh, this coach and that coach, or it's the players. But I don't know that it's Mike Tomlin getting him out is the fix for the Steelers, at least.
Yeah, just thinking through a couple of guys that are sitting around, if you will. McCarthy's name's going to come up, but I don't know that's a Steelers name. That might be a New York name, but that's not a Steelers name. Robert Saleh is going to get a job this next year, most likely as a head coach. He interviews very well. That's been said a ton about him, and I'm not going to hold working for Woody Johnson over that guy's head if I'm a other NFL owner. They know what that psycho is. Like, dude, that's a guy that doesn't promote healthy culture at all.
And if we're stuck with Aaron Rodgers for another year, we won't. It's not a Steeler name either. Then
I don't think you are. I really don't.
Done.
I think he's cooked. I think he's cooked. I don't think he can go through it another year. I think it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, he just does not have that in him. You guys have to go out and get a quarterback and a running back this next year. And that's no offense to Jaylen Warren, who stepped in admirably, like genuinely.
He's doing well for what he's given.
Absolutely. Like, he's doing a good job. You guys have fixed the offensive line for the most part. You got 4 out of 5 spots really taken care of. So, like, they need to go figure out quarterback. Yeah. They got to go figure out running back. And we've seen what that can do for a team here very recently. New York, as much as we have hated on, what's his name, Schoen, however you say his name, the GM there, dude, he did a great job selecting Jackson Dart and Scatterbo. Like that.
And Neighbors last year.
Awesome. Yep, he hit 3 times in a row. That was fantastic on those high-end picks. And even, like, Thibodeau hasn't been a huge producer, but that wasn't a bad pick. Like, that's been fine. And the move to go get Burns was a really good move. He brought in some really good pieces. Just saying, though, and they'll get a good head coach, but, like, you guys are really just a couple pieces away, it feels. And honestly, as much as I hate on Tomlin, is that more the issue? Is the GM thing the bigger issue? Is that they went and signed a $30 million wide receiver when really what they needed was a quarterback and a running back?
I'm sorry, like, I was laughing my head off when I saw that you gave DK $30 million. The dude's going to catch for 60 balls for 900 yards and 8 touchdowns, and you just paid him. Like, that's
we had very
money.
Different reactions, Grant. Okay, we had different reactions.
Yeah,
I was sobbing. Okay,
yeah,
I don't want DK.
Thanks for the treat, stupid. I'll take a second rounder.
I think those are all really fair questions. I want to get into the NFC side of the NFL this week because we've got a little bit to go through there. The NFC West is officially insane. As it's trending right now, the NFC West is going to be the only division in the NFL with 3 6-win teams. Packers are down 10-0 here with 10 minutes left. I'm not saying that's not doable, but the way they've been moving the ball in this game, it doesn't look good. We'll probably hear your husband start crying from the other room, I imagine.
If he's not already just watching this game.
I just hear once in a while, like, dang it. Poor guy.
You're just going to hear a no. here in a couple minutes when Jordan Love throws an interception because they just got the ball back. But yeah, the NFC West is now the only division with 6-win teams. It was a wild day. The Seahawks absolutely smoked the Cardinals. This ending score is 44-22, but I was watching the ticker because I was watching my game, and I'm like, how did you score that many points that fast? Why do they have 3 touchdowns and we're not even into the 8th minute?
Dude, it was 28-0 with 16 minutes of game time. They scored it. They scored their 4th touchdown with like less than a minute into the second quarter. Yeah.
And really the game wasn't even that close. Sam Darnold threw 1 pass in the second half. I think that was actually from the mid-second quarter on.
Something like that. Yeah. And then he threw another pass that bounced off the helmet and got deflected like 12 million yards in the air, and then Cardinals player picked it up.
But this was 38-7 at the half. It's about as bad a beatdown as you're going to see in the NFL, especially for 2 quarters of play ever, really. That's like a high school type score.
No, yeah. The Seahawks actually have the three of the top 4 scores going into halftime. They have 3 38-0 scores going into halftime this year.
Wow.
Sam Darnold in the first half is amazing. His second halves don't seem as great, but I was reading something yesterday that said the first half over the past 2 weeks, he has a perfect passer rating of 158.3. Yep. He's 25 for 26 for 349 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, all within these first halves. Then the second half, he has like an interception and fumble. Like, we won't talk about that. But going into halftime, like, it's hard to overcome that going into the second half, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're just pouring it on.
Sit back. You sit back as a defense and you tee off.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you want first downs? That's fine because we score touchdowns. As Duck fans, that is something that we have said all the time. Oh, that's cute. You get first downs, we get touchdowns. I love it when you see a team celebrating 10 yards.
Trey McBride got like a 25-yard catch, and he was like jawing at some fans down like 30 points. And I'm like, bro, okay. Yeah, dude, you showed them, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was genuinely pretty bad. The Seahawks just took their foot off the gas, though. Ran the ball quite a bit. The box got stacked from the Cardinals' perspective on defense, and this one basically just ran the clock out. I know there will be more games to touch on for Seattle, but they look like the real deal right now, just humming on both sides. They've got some quality opponent games coming up as well, so we're going to get to measure them out a little bit more. On the other side of the NFC West, because the 4 teams were all playing each other, the 49ers finally looked like the injured team that they are. It seemed like a couple weeks ago with Houston, it was just like a whatever. Houston came out with a great game plan. That's a former assistant in Ryan's coaching against Shanahan, and dude just had his number that day. That's kind of what that one felt like. They were flat out outmatched this week by the Rams, 42-26. Matthew Stafford picked apart the Niners as he had all day to throw, and finished with 280 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's only because they were playing really complimentary football with Williams. Like, he was able to get chunk runs and first downs consistently against the 49ers front 7 that just looks tired. They look gassed. As a fan that watches every week, that was pretty bad. There was no pressure coming up the middle at all. Niners are still missing draft pick Alfred Collins, who they were hoping to get back for this week. He's got a club on one of his hands right now. All of a sudden forgetting which one it is. And yeah, it just looks like we're getting any interior pressure. The Rams defense, however, did. They consistently were able to hold CMC back. He finished with 96 total yards, so it's not nothing for CMC, but he only got 30 yards on the ground on 12 carries. I said last week that Stafford was in the 4-horse race for MVP. I still think he's in the race for MVP, but he certainly improved his position this week with a borderline perfect passer rating here. Just a few incompletions and a couple batted balls that keep him from that. I think the conversation, though, this week is genuinely Stafford, Jonathan Taylor, and Drake May. The conversation about MVP is going to change every week depending on certain performances. I don't know how Jonathan Taylor can't be in the discussion. Like, he's willed himself into it. If he's not in the top 3 right now, this is just, we're having a stupid conversation. I don't really know. Stafford or May makes sense to be in the lead here, but you could make the case for Taylor to be in the lead if you were just to poll everybody right now. I don't know that it matters, but it feels like that's the 3-headed monster. Is there anybody else you guys would throw in right now?
No.
I can't think of anybody right now.
No, I think it's those guys.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford, he has 13 passing touchdowns the last 3 games. And the Rams are just fun to watch. Like, you can't stop Puka. Like,
No.
Guy came back from injury. Doesn't look like he's missed a beat.
No.
He gets me fantasy points every single week. Is beautiful, but they're just fun. They seem like they're just driving together. And yeah, you're right. Like the Niners looked finally like they are injured, and they are. But I think like consistently, like the Rams are somebody I would bet on. Jonathan Taylor, if his numbers, like Grant was talking about, are consistent with Saquon's from last year, there's no reason he's not, in my opinion, in the lead of that conversation. Maybe slightly over Stafford, but I don't think there's anybody else that ranks with those three at the moment. Like at least up to this point. Obviously, there's still a lot of football to play. I mean, I think as the Ravens maybe get going, like I think Lamar missed probably too much time to be MVP, but we'll see how he goes the rest of the way.
Yeah, Josh Allen hasn't looked like an MVP in a couple games that we already picked apart, and you would have gone into the season thinking he's top 2 candidate for MVP. The Chiefs have lost 4 games, so you can't put Mahomes in that, and he's not playing Mahomes-esque ball, if you will. And nobody else seems to have the stats. Like when you're just looking at numbers, Daniel Jones did there for a little bit, and then the last 2 weeks, he's gotten sacked like 12 times. Not really much of an opportunity, and the Colts had turned the ball over, I think, 5 times the week before. Yeah, like it seems like that's where that one's at. Baker's chances took a hit this week. He had been in the conversation. Just losing, that's unfortunate because it's not on him. If you were to go look at those stats, I believe he had 3 touchdowns still this week, and his percentages were fine. Everything's right where it should be. They just lost.
I think, too, they got smoked pretty bad against the Lions a few weeks ago, then went into the bye, so then people aren't talking about them. Because MVP, the awards, it's also a narrative thing, like 100%. The narrative matters. Yeah. And so when they're not being talked about, when you get smoked, then you go into a bye, you're not being talked about for 2 weeks, and then the bright, shiny new thing shows up. It's the Matt Stafford, Jonathan Taylor.
Absolutely.
Like 100%. So that's part of it, but Baker Mayfield's still balling.
I want to get to one thing that we've mentioned now a little bit, but talk about the reason for it as we continue on in the NFC. We'll have plenty more to talk about the NFC West in the next few weeks. There's some big, like I said, big matchups coming up. Your Seahawks have a pretty good game this week that I think has made it into our pick'em, if I remember correctly, against said team that we were just discussing. But Brian Daboll got fired this week. It is time. 3 horrible losses this year in which his team had a 96% chance to win late in the 4th quarter. This last week, he got victimized by himself. And honestly, they were in control in this game. Jackson Dart goes out in the 4th quarter. Okay. Like it gets hit in the head. He's in concussion. I totally get that when you get to this point in the game, you got to try, and your quarterback goes out, you got to flip some mindset, do something different because whatever your backup quarterback situation is, you got to adjust to that. We know that the Giants' backup quarterback situation is Russell Wilson, who all of New York collectively despises because every time he touches the ball, they boo a lot and it's hilarious. Genuinely love it. But in this game, the defense has done a great job against Caleb Williams. Field position has been in the Giants' favor. This was the best coaching I probably had seen Daboll do for 3 quarters. And then for whatever reason,
there's 4 quarters in a game, by the way.
He just shakes his hat.
He forgot.
And goes like this. And he's like, You guys got it right. And just sits there for the 4th quarter while his team implodes. The Bears score 14 points in the 4th quarter to win this one. But I really think that the reason that Daboll's getting fired, not just that percentage win chance late in games, but it's his inability to coach certain moments that really matter. Jackson Dart getting knocked out of this game is because he has not told Jackson Dart slide or else. That's a rookie quarterback that he does not have a handle on. And I love watching Dart play. He's super fun. Scadaboo's super fun to watch until the awful injury, of course. But I love these rookies. But they just run into contact. And in the NFL, those are monsters. Those are gladiators coming at you at full force. And his inability to coach his guys in these little things is what's led to some catastrophic injuries unnecessarily. And Dart has been in that tent way too many times the last month. Way too many. You see him taking it play after play. You cannot tell me that Daboll's in his ear going, hey, dude, slide. We need you for all 4 quarters. Slide. If you watched Dylan Gabriel this last week, speaking of rookie quarterbacks, how he's on the kind of the reverse, like a little too conservative. Dude sliding like 5 yards before anybody gets there and just whee down the field. It's hilarious to watch. But you know what he's doing this next week? He's playing football. He's playing football. Jackson Dart probably is not. I don't know why you would put him back in there right after his coach gets fired. That doesn't make any sense. But I just watched the way that this went and was like, you got to be kidding me. Russell Wilson, by the way, comes in the fourth quarter, passes for 41 yards on one good play, okay? Then the team gets 50 total yards on their final 3.5 possessions. Russell gets sacked twice and ends the game on the last 2 drives going 1 for 5 with 0 yards gained on pass plays. Just absolutely Russell Wilson trash football that we have come to expect the last few years. We take all that into account, and yeah, the Bears are like winning games in crud, and that's really annoying because I hate their quarterback maybe as much as Troy Aikman does. Maybe.
I don't know. That's some pretty tough
I don't know.
competition,
Troy
dude.
Aikman really don't like him.
Dude, if we mentioned it that one week on the Monday Night Football week,
Holy,
but if you wanna go see some hate mail, go look up Troy Aikman
Bro.
on YouTube commenting on Caleb Williams.
It's bad.
bro, D1
He's
hater.
hateable though. He's hateable though.
Yeah.
When he was coming into the league and like he was talking, not to. Bro,
Yeah,
said
but
something.
for an announcer to be like
True.
just lighting him up like that is just insane. No matter what, they're supposed to be impartial. I get that you don't get that all the time, but that was like my eyes were wide like the whole time. I'm like, is anybody else hearing what I am hearing right now?
I was uncomfortable watching it on TV. I'm as he's commentating. I'm like, whoo, it's getting hot in here.
Like, did Caleb Williams shoot your dog or something? What is going on?
Caleb Williams it's easy to hate. Like, he doesn't care what anyone thinks. He comes out with the painted fingernails. It's not a traditional look of a quarterback. I'm going to sound so old when I say that. It's so bad. But considering that my age and above does not necessarily love the vibe, that's a lot of human beings that watch football, and it's a very large demographic, but also just his, like, excuse mentality. Last year, we ripped him hard for his inability to understand a play clock and the game clock. Oh my
Thanksgiving,
gosh.
yeah. Thanksgiving
Got
last
his
year.
coach fired Thanksgiving week because of his inability to look at a clock. That's the most Gen Z thing ever, by the way. I'm just throwing it out there. You people are late to everything. Can I just say that out loud one time? To everything. But no, he's just easy to hate. And so I wasn't super excited about it. But dude, have you looked at the playoff standings right now for the NFC? Take a little gander at where it's at. Another old man term that I just used. That was fantastic.
A gander.
It's worse.
The
It's
NFC?
worse than in the
Yep.
NFC. Like, it's
They're there.
very interesting when you look at the playoff portion in particular. I was just checking this today, like skimming through in preparation. Chicago has the 7 seed. The 49ers are on the outside looking in at 6-4. They have not hit their bye week yet, so
Yeah.
that's part of it. But Chicago's at 6-3. Detroit at 6-3 would be the 6. The Rams are actually the 5 at 7-2. Tampa would be the 4 at 6-3. Green Bay currently 5-1. By the way, that game's now 10-7 if you guys are watching.
Yeah, it's getting at least interesting.
It is a little interesting. Philadelphia would be 6-2. The number 1 seed in the NFC currently is the Seahawks.
Word. What's
They have also no, you guys just had your bye, didn't you? My bad.
Yeah.
I'm doing math wrong. But you're like looking at it. That is a really interesting just perspective on the playoffs right now. By the way, Carolina sitting there at the 9 at 5-5. Minnesota all the way down at 10 with their 4-5 record. I just, in my head, Minnesota's not a 4-5 team. That's just crazy to me. But I understand they've been playing out without their starting quarterback for way too much of the season so far. But yeah, that was just really interesting. Chicago would be a playoff team today.
Mhm.
Now, they'd also be playing Philadelphia in Philadelphia and be getting murdered in the first round. I do believe that as well. But they are a playoff team as of right now. That's going to be really interesting to see how that develops. But I got to agree with the standings here. If you were to look at it, okay, barring the outcome of this game that we're currently watching, let's just go ahead and say the Eagles win. If the Eagles beat the Packers, that's a good win for them. Packers currently sitting there with the 3 seed. That's a really good win. I think that Philly and Seattle, however you look at it, although overall you could certainly make the case that Seattle has been more consistent as a team and played some better ball recently, especially. So maybe they're your 1A. but I think it's a 1B scenario when we talk about Seattle and Philly overall. If you're asking me which roster I'd rather have, it's in Philadelphia.
Sure.
But right now, I think clearly coaching prowess is just growing in Seattle, getting much better, and they're developing the team the right way with a lot of youthfulness to it and some good voices in the locker room like Cooper Kupp. But I would really say that's your 1A, 1B, and then the rest of it, I don't know. I think the Rams are probably the third best team in the NFC.
You would take the Hawks over the Rams right now?
I would take the Hawks over the Rams right now, but this week's going to define that. We're going to get into it in just a moment. The Seahawks are playing the Rams this week. It's in LA, and
that doesn't matter. Not for the Hawks.
It doesn't. Nope, not at all. You enjoy your invasion. That's what everybody does when they go play there. But I do think that I would take the Rams probably as the third best team in the NFC. And I don't know what would happen right now because you remember how good that game was against Philadelphia in Philadelphia between the Rams and them. I don't even know. I don't know that the Rams would lose outside of Philly. If they were at home against Philadelphia, I think they could probably win that game. I think they could beat you guys, certainly. This is a seriously coin flip this week. But here's my bigger question. Who would you take as the overall number one in the NFL?
Right now?
I'll go back over the records, okay? We have 3 teams that don't have a bye yet in Indy, Denver, and New England on the other side, okay? And then you have those 3 teams that I just mentioned. The Rams, the Eagles, and the Seahawks. Who's the best team in the NFL?
I'm trying to avoid not saying my team because I don't
sure,
want.
But there's no way that you could be like, I'm certain.
No. The thing I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna bet all my next paycheck on this team.
Yep.
I'm not. That's what we had talked about a few weeks ago. We're like, I don't know what teams are good because when we think teams are good, they go off and lose games they shouldn't. Last week I might have said the Bills. Now I'm not sure.
This is the most middle of the middle that I've ever seen in the NFL. Like, it's just the middle. There's just good. There's not great.
And this is why I'm actually really excited for the playoffs this year. And I'm really excited for the Super Bowl because I really just don't want to see teams I've seen before. Granted, I want to see my team for sure, but I'm also just as a fan of the sport, I don't want to see the Chiefs and Eagles and they've been there. They've both won it over the last couple of years. Like I always want fresh teams. I was tired of seeing the Cavs and the Warriors every year in the finals. I was like, just give me a different team. Like, I don't really even hate either of these teams. I just want something new. And so it'd be great because I think we may see a team win a Super Bowl for the first time in a long time. And I think that's exciting.
That would be awesome. There's several of them that I'm down with it. As a 49er fan who understands the need to temper my expectations after watching this game this week, like nobody could use a rest week more than my team in the NFL. Nobody. We do have we were playing the Cardinals this week. I think we have the Browns coming up, and we are on the easy-ish portion of our schedule right before our bye coming up here. It's in the next 3-4 weeks. But yeah, like thinking about, thinking about what's coming up for all these teams and just seeing the intersection of the middle here, who's going to become elite, okay? I really can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see what happens. And one team is eventually going to elevate itself, and it could be the Seahawks.
If they win this week, with confidence, I would probably say it.
Yeah.
If they beat the Rams this week, I think if they beat the Rams this week, which at this point, if I had to pick between those two, I feel like I would pick the Rams. Number one, I hate the Seahawks, so granted, it's not surprising saying that. But I think a little bit that the Seahawks haven't been as tested so far. I wouldn't say the Rams schedule has been super, super hard either, but I feel like I would be interested to see the Seahawks playing an actual really solid team in the Rams. I think both of them, this will be their best game so far this season, or their best opponent.
Yeah. So when we get to the pick 'em, I'll explain. This game's going to be fantastic because these two teams are almost identical in every statistical category in terms of rankings on offense and defense, passing, rushing. They're within like 2 slots of each other in most categories. So this game is going to be like, it is 100% a toss up, like for sure.
But I think if you had to pick a number one overall, like of all the teams you've been talking about, I feel like I'm riding with Indianapolis right now. Again, like you guys said, I'm not
convinced of anybody, which is actually really fun because I feel like the last 2 years it's like, oh yeah, we'll pick the Chiefs. Like, cool. But even going into the season, I was like, this season to me, there's not anybody that's like far and above anybody else. And so I don't know. We'll see in 7 days when we play football again. It could be a totally different answer. But if you had to ask me right now, I feel like the Colts, they've had a couple stupid games, obviously, but I think overall, I think Jonathan Taylor is unstoppable right now. Daniel Jones, wild. There's just, they have almost 4,000 yards that they have, and then they've only allowed about 3,000 against them. They have the biggest point differential in the NFL. They're first in that with 13.11. So there's these stats that contribute to that. We'll see. It's fun that it could change in 7 days.
No, dude, just in that, you're winning me over to that idea. And you watch what they just did with adding Sauce to that roster.
Yeah.
He had about 3 real not great plays in that game this last week. There's the one that everybody's
He
seen
slipped.
falling over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He slipped a bunch. I watched most.
But he did almost have a pick six. Like
He
it
did
was like
too.
it was right there.
Fair. And they were playing in Europe. So take that for what
And
it is.
he's been on the
That's a
team for
big
like 2
adjustment.
minutes.
He's coming off a concussion. He changed teams,
Yeah.
everything against him in that regard. But I know he's just going to get better. I will say, though, they still trusted him with the wide side the entire time. Like, if you look at where he lined up, he was wide the entire time and holding down one side of the field. But you could totally convince me. I think that just looking at differentials, I would imagine the Seahawks are right behind them, and we'll get into some stats in a moment when it comes to total yards, points in the game, and the differential, because their defense has had some really electric weeks, including this last one to speak of too. But we're going to take a break right before we get to pick them, because I wanted to have a little bit of fun. As the trade deadline was coming up last week, we were talking about potential fits around the league and where we were hoping maybe this guy or that guy would go. My 49ers did none of that. I'm super excited about what they did not. And we got the surprise of Sauce Gardner, got the surprise of Quinnen Williams, which I had a lot to say about that trade to the Cowboys and how that doesn't benefit the Cowboys near as much as they think it does. But that's fine. A lot of Cowboys fans disagreed with me online this last week. If you guys have watched the show long enough, I'm just not going to be wrong about that. It sucks, and it'll be really sad for you guys when you figure out that I'm right. But
You don't have to keep drinking the Kool-Aid, Cowboys fans. No one is forcing you. There's not a gun to your head. You don't
stay
have
away
to.
from the purple drink.
Like you don't have to, man. Like you
this
can
guy
still
has
love
done
your
nothing.
team. You can still love your team and also face reality. Like
He's done nothing in 30
we have
years.
someone who's doing it right now on this show. Respect, Brittany. Respect.
Yep.
This
You
is
know
how
what it
Cowboys
is
fans
right
should
now.
be.
Yep. This is how it should work. You need to know when your team is not it. They are not it. That move doesn't make you it. I saw psychos everywhere. Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated. I'm putting a guy on blast. I don't do that often when it comes to reporters. Okay, I'm a noted Stephen A. and Ryan Clark hater, but there's a reason for that. But Albert Breer said one of the dumbest things. He literally said that Quinnen Williams is on par with Micah Parsons in terms of ability level. Said that out loud, and people didn't laugh at him when he said
that
it,
in public.
I think they went,
On the internet forever.
they muted their mics. That's what they must have done, because Quinnen Williams is a really good defensive tackle and a great run stopper. And I understand there's more than one way to get after a quarterback, but he does not produce sacks from the interior. Kenny Clark is the most overpaid defensive tackle in the league. There's a reason the Packers were willing to ship him out. He's going to be $21 million next year. Quinnen Williams is 19. Okay, they're going to be a $40 million less producing version of Micah Parsons on the defensive side of the ball. And I understand you can't compare positions. Everybody come at me. They're defensive tackles. He's a hybrid linebacker, defensive end, blah, 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 blah. He sucks in big games, blah, 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 blah. He is sucked in big games for the Cowboys for a reason. He was the only good player in the front seven, and that is one guy's fault. It's the dude who hires all these people and drafts them and puts them out there. Like, legitimately, it's his fault. And then he shipped him away. He moved up from the second round to the first round is all he did. And really, that's about a 20-pick spread when you consider that the Cowboys are going to be the middle and realistically, the Packers are going to finish from 22 to 28 when you look at it. Like, so that's about 20 picks that he moved them up, and he still inherited $40 million of contract next year and the year after. So congratulations, you got the same crap, different day.
Could have just paid $8 million more and had Micah Parsons.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and by the way, you could have spread that contract out really easy.
Yeah.
Like really easy. Voidable
Backload it,
years
bro.
are
Yeah.
awesome. But what they were terrified is the thing that we're going to spend a little bit of time towards the end of the season talking about. They're terrified of the fact, not that Micah Parsons would have been a cap hit, and that was the issue. It's that they have to pay $74 million worth of a cap hit to Dak Prescott next year. That's on the books right now. So,
Also,
Cowboys fans keep drinking that purple stuff.
Also,
It is
I
what
found
it
it
is.
hilarious that they had that clause in there. They call it like the poison pill. That like if the Packers trade Micah Parsons to an NFC East team, then the Packers have to forfeit their first round pick to the Cowboys, and vice versa. And they added that vice versa.
Yeah, with Kenny Clark, they had the same deal.
So I just found that hilarious because Jerry Jones was terrified of that because there's one GM in their division who's the best at his job, and Howie Roseman. And
and we've already seen the reports that when Micah became available, the Eagles called.
Yeah.
They called. And they're like, how much? And they're like, there is no amount of draft picks. And I'm like,
I
I
don't know, bro.
agree with that.
If you got 4 first rounders, I would trade him in division.
The Cowboys famously, Herschel Walker, the greatest trade in the history of the NFL,
Gave them
did that.
millions of Super
Just saying. Like, I would have done it. There's absolutely a price that in my head, and I think you're right, dude. I think it's 4 ones.
Yeah.
Or 3 ones and 3.
But I might do that with a quarterback you're having to pay $1 gazillion.
Howie Roseman would spit out whatever he was drinking and then hang up the phone while laughing. He's Howie Roseman. He's the best there is.
Yeah.
And that's just absolutely true. In the spirit of all, that was fun. Anytime we dog on the Cowboys, it's a good day. But in the spirit of that, I wanted to just hypothetical. If we go back before the trade deadline and you could take a player off of any roster, any team, and ship them to another team for the remainder of duration of contract, who would you move and why? And what's the home run? Grant is smiling, has thought of his answer a while ago. I know when he thought of it. I want to hear what his is.
There's a team in the NFL. Total offense, they're third. Third in total offense right now. Their defense sucks. They could really use a blue chip player. And that would be Micah Parsons going to the Dallas Cowboys. That is my dream scenario. Is Micah Parsons going to a top 5 offense that will score a bunch of points and desperately needs someone to get after the quarterback? That's the best.
That's actually a great answer.
Why did we not make you go last? Dang it. You couldn't wait to
Seriously.
get that out. That's definitely better than what Brittany and I have. I'm certain of it.
Let's just wrap it up.
Yeah, that was what a great segment. You crushed it. No, I definitely went the more contemporary route. Like the obvious need fill scenario here. And Grant won't like this for the reason that is obvious, but I love
Take my boy from me. I know what you're
taking
doing.
your boy. Yeah.
No, my sweet prince. My sweet prince.
Sweet Prince.
I'm taking JSN, and I'm actually giving him to the Ravens.
Perfect.
Oh,
As
I
the
hate that,
compliment
actually.
piece to Zay Flowers,
Dude.
can you imagine him and Lamar running that offense together? Literally, it's Mahomes and Hill. It's Mahomes and Tyreek over and over again. There is not a route that JSN doesn't run well. There's not a corner in the league, I think, that can completely shut him down.
No one has so far through
JSN
10 weeks.
JSN looks like everything that he was in college and more. And the reason the Seahawks let DK walk is because of how good that dude is. Genuinely, I could say that we could go to Puka for sure. We can go to Jamar, who I think are the other 2 best receivers in the league right now. No knock to Justin Jefferson. I'm just saying right now, Justin Jefferson doesn't have the quarterback play that distributes. It shows you what his skills are.
Bro's only got 2 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah. And yeah, also he might be the worst effort tackler after an interception is thrown of all time. If you have not seen what happened this weekend, that is the definition of not trying. But no, I think JSN is a perfect complement stylistically to what Lamar is.
Because Lamar loves the middle of the field. That's where Jason's at his best. Just the intermediate stuff. That's what you constantly see Lamar Jackson doing all the time, is that intermediate stuff. And there's probably no one better at any facet of the wide receiver game right now than JSN. But that specifically is where JSN thrives for sure.
Yeah, and Jamar T are 10-plus yarders. Like those are their best routes is 10-plus. JSN can beat you at the line of scrimmage. That's why I think that works so well. Justin is a high point guy. He's a deep route guy. He's going to expose a safety. That's what he does better. And those run ups and cutbacks are his bread and butter. I think him and Puka do that better than anybody else in the league. But yeah, JSN just makes perfect sense there. It's easy to take a really good wide receiver and pair him with a quarterback, but I don't know, dude. That guy could probably challenge his own 40-4 performance from last year if you gave him 12, 13 games with both Zay and him out there and the tight end setup that they have. So, yeah, that was mine.
So I was thinking along the same lines, wide receiver. I don't want this to happen because I don't love the Chiefs. But I was trying to think of, they're 5-4. They've struggled. Like, they're not really being talked about currently. And I'm like, is it just because Taylor Swift's not in the games anymore? I don't know. But I feel like if you were to give them, and I thought JSN maybe, Jamar Chase maybe. I landed on Justin Jefferson to the Chiefs. I think automatically he's their WR1. Obviously, Minnesota's not doing him any favors currently. I know they're without their starter quarterback and all that. He seems like a guy, but I'm like, I would love to see him get a ring. I don't know why. You just pick random players that you're like, he seems like a nice guy. Maybe it's because I watched Receiver on Netflix and it was like, oh, he's actually like, I'm like, he's actually a genuine dude. He's a nice guy. I feel bad that he's like Grant. He's got like no touchdowns on the year. I'm like, what are we doing with Justin Jefferson? And I mean, to me, Jamar Chase had a chance to leave, didn't. But I think him going, obviously, he opens it up a little bit more underneath for Kelsey, and like they got Kareem Hunt with the runner, and then Rice is still there.
Yep. Rice is since coming back from the 6 games off mandatory sentence that he got, like he looks great, and that would be a huge compliment. If I was gonna move, I'll jump and go. If I was gonna move a defensive player, by the way, I would put Myles Garrett on the Colts. That's terrifying. Like that's game over mode. That's game over mode.
That's automatic
for the rest of that roster. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put Myles Garrett anywhere he's going to be elite. It doesn't matter because he's Myles Garrett. But I really like him with that roster and just their ability to then control the line of scrimmage and really like that.
I would love to see.
You can flip the field so easy with him.
I know that we've seen Daniel Jones play well, but I think if you put someone like a Joe Burrow with that roster at the Colts, dude, that's a game over right there. Like I would.
Taylor's your check down.
Yeah, dude. So yeah. Joe Burrow's one of those guys that I like. I'm like always rooting for that guy. And like, bro, you're with the Bengals. That sucks.
You just love him because he owns a Batmobile.
That's part of it for sure.
That's a huge part of it. Yeah,
but,
I know. That's why I said it. You're hearing it right now.
But to have a complete roster like that for someone like a Joe Burrow, who will probably never get that because he plays for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah,
that's another one.
Well, unless they draft it this year.
Well,
legitimately, they suck so bad that they should not let him come back. Especially if the Ravens just take off and win like 4 games before Joe's eligible to be back. They should just don't do it. Don't do it. You're washed, dude. Like Joe Flacco's awesome. Let us watch him. We love Joe Flacco.
You know the dream scenario, Brittany? Jameis Winston to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Get out of here.
That is what I want.
You, Greg.
That's what I want. That's what I want. I want him starting in the NFL.
Guess who's starting this next week?
Is he? Oh, yes, because if
start out.
Bro, how can he not? How could he not be starting this next week?
He has to.
He has to. The world hates Russell Wilson.
Bro, I am so excited to watch a New York Giants football game, and I don't think I've ever uttered that phrase in my life.
Bro,
clip that for TikTok. Just post that.
Oh my gosh,
let's go!
I wish I had
excited to see him play football again. Free Jameis Winston needs to be trending.
I wish I had my Jameis Winston jersey up here. Dang it!
Social media.
I would take Jameis Winston over Russell Wilson any day of the week.
Everybody
you would take him over Aaron Rodgers, though, also, wouldn't you?
I would take my left shoe over Aaron Rodgers after yesterday. I can't stand that guy.
Your shoe by itself could move faster than that guy. No, we're gonna get into pick'em and have some fun with it. I know Grant's got a few stats as we go. This week is going to be different, and I'll just announce how we're going to do this going forward because we've had to record a little earlier in the week. It's Monday as we're recording this. By the way, did that go final?
No, it's still 10-7.
10-7. I got 27 seconds left. Packers do have the ball. I don't know.
They're on their own 35, though.
Okay.
They fumbled it. They fumbled it under 1 minute left in the fourth because that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. But no, going forward, because we've been having to record a little earlier in the week just because of live schedules and stuff like that for us, we're going to be announcing our pick'em later in the week. We've gotten a little bit hosed I in particular have gotten a little hosed by some injuries that we were either unaware of or wasn't sure who was starting at key positions for some of these teams as we've been picking games. We're going to be announcing our picks later on in the week, but we're going to talk about where we're leaning right now. And we'll give our picks on usually like Friday, Saturday. We'll try and get that on social. But our first one this week is an absolute dumpster fire. By the way, Brittany, the way we do it every time is I'll start on the first one. We do snaking order. Grant will go second, you'll go last, and then we'll continue through. But our first one is the dumpster fire. It is the overseas game that has already been mentioned. It is the Commanders playing against the Dolphins. It is absolutely horrible, and we would like to apologize to all of Europe for what we are sending you. This is the worst of the worst.
Ugh.
Again, this is a crock pot in an ambulance game.
Mariota versus Tua. Oof.
Listen, I will say this though, with Mariota starting, that's 4 Duck quarterbacks starting in the NFL, and I love that for us.
Yeah.
It's not the record. I think the record's 5, probably with Oklahoma, with Baker and Kyler and all that. But 4 Duck quarterbacks starting, I'm not mad about it. But you're right. We do need to apologize to all of Europe. That's horrendous.
It's going to be really
And honestly, even before the season, before we knew this, why would you, perspectively, you would think that the Commanders were going to be good
That's
and
true.
the Dolphins would suck, though. That's not a good game anyway.
Well, I don't know.
You don't want to
envision with Tyreek and Waddle and
them
HM
hovering
playing
around like
as well as
5
he
wins,
did.
like 5 wins right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 5. Yeah. Okay.
Like around 5. Yeah. In a
Yeah.
best case scenario.
I could definitely see 5 wins on their record right now. I could have seen them at 5-3 or whatever. Yeah, that would have been fine.
Okay.
But
Still,
you
this
look,
game
you look
sucks.
at it, or 5-4. My bad. This game sucks. There's nothing good about it, and I don't think that anybody wins here. I think if you're the Dolphins or the Commanders, you basically want to lose from here on out. Like, other than Mike McDaniel wanting to maybe try and save his job, there's no benefit to winning here on out. You want to get Jaden Daniels more help. You got a defense in Washington you need to fix. Same thing with the Dolphins. Like, they shipped out Phillips. They need a bookend guy with Chubb. There's a whole bunch of stuff to correct here when you look at the long term. But somebody's going to win. Apparently, these teams still want to play football. You can phone it in. I don't like any of this. The Dolphins coming off that win against the Bills makes you feel like they could do something. They definitely have the more electric offense right now. I guess based on that, I'm going to take the Dolphins. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. That's wild, but if I said the Commanders, I'd feel probably equally as dumb about it. So, yeah, I'm just going to take the Dolphins. Grant, pick really quick so we can get through this one.
Yeah, I'm probably going to pick the Dolphins too. Yeah, it's weird to be picking the Dolphins right now in a pick'em game. But yeah, I like at least them a little bit better. They've proven they can score 30 points. Now, it's the first time they did it all season.
True.
But this Commanders team is terrible all around. Their offense sucks. Their defense is horrifying. So,
Yeah. Their special teams is not better. So,
no. So,
Yeah, I'll round it out 3 for 3 Dolphins. I don't think it matters to anyone. And yeah,
just leave it at that. It's totally
I
fine.
don't have anything else to say.
No.
It's
We have
sad.
a much harder game to pick right after this. Okay. And there's some people, if you went and looked at the schedule, I did avoid 1 or 2 games on purpose, just based on the amount of teams that we have put in week to week. I kept the Eagles out of this next one on purpose. Just if you're looking at the schedule. The next one is
speaking of the Eagles, they have won 10-7
they
against
did
Packers.
win. Yep. Okay. I would like to thank Josh Jacobs for that touchdown, but I think I still barely lost. I'm gonna look really fast before I ask you this question. Oh, no, I'm not, because my internet doesn't want to work. Bucks, Bills. Brittany, that's the next one. You get that first one out of the way, and now you get a hard one. Bucks,
This
Bills.
is hard
Yeah, this one's really rough.
because I feel like we talked about earlier, these are both teams that are going to be better than they are, and then they lose, and then you're like, what the heck?
Both coming off a loss. One got blown out, though. Can't forget that, but they are at home. The Bills are the home team here, just for the record.
I feel like I'll go with the Bills just because of the home team. To me, it honestly is a 50-50. They strike me as the same-ish style of being in the middle, not being as good as they should be, their record not being as good as they should be. quarterbacks that should be better than they're playing right now. But I don't know. I'm ready to eat my words on that one, I think. But I'll go with the Bills for now.
Grant.
Where I'm leaning towards Bills, I think what moves me, a couple things. Every time I've picked the Bucks this year, they've let me down. Every time that I've picked Bucks to win, they have not won. And every time I picked against them, they've won. Because when they played my Seahawks, the Bucks won, and I picked the Seahawks.
You can't win this.
I can't. But I don't know if I'm leaning towards Bills. What may change is if we have an update on some of their injuries at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Again, it's too early in the week to know that. Even with that, to be honest, I might still pick the Bills. I just think them being at home, most of the time when you have a warm weather team going to a cold weather team does not end well. Florida to New York, it's going to be quite a difference there.
But it's not snow time yet.
It's not snow time, but it
is still cold.
New York in November is going to be drastically cold for these Floridians down here in the swamp of Tampa Bay. I think I'm going to go Bills here. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think a bounce back. I think they feel a little disrespected. And I think the Bucks are pissed too. But I think the Bills are like, we got to win this game against a good team here. And so that's where I'm leaning.
I think I'm going to lean the same direction right now. But what I'm going to say about it is the Bills are healthy. The Bucks are struggling. Again, the wide receiver thing for the Bucks is a real issue. Also, I think the Bucks got exposed this last week. If you can measure those exotic blitzes that Bowles calls and take them into account the way that the Patriots did, but the Patriots also have a top 5 offensive line. Don't want to forget that. If you can handle those blitzes and that scheme pretty well, Niners did a pretty good job against it, even with a somewhat makeshift line the week they played. You can conquer Tampa. Like, it is absolutely possible to conquer Tampa. They gave up a ton of yards on the ground, gave up explosive plays. That front seven is not super great right now. You saw a lot of linebackers chasing guys rather than being set up for success, and it's because of the way those blitzes work and when they get called. I think that the Bucks can get got. The Bills are crazy healthy for the most part. So I'm just leaning towards the Bills right now. Our next one, in my opinion, is the toughest game of the week. I don't care where your loyalties lie and what you feel about these two teams. I don't like seeing either of them on the field. As a 49er fan, I hate the Seahawks and the Rams. Hate them both, but not equally. Hate the Seahawks more for sure.
Absolutely.
But that's just because my teams beat the crap out of the Rams for the majority of my existence. So
that's the same. It's the reverse. I hate
Seahawks
I hate the Rams more because they beat us a lot when they were terrible, and the Niners, for the most part, my growing fandom, they were winning 3 games a year. So
it's different. But I hate the Seahawks. I wish death upon them, and I want their stadium to be obliterated. That said,
I can start.
It's me. I get firsties.
But
I can say where I'm leaning. I'm not going to pick it apart. You get all the numbers
just to help maybe color some stuff. But go for it. Go for it.
Fine. No, you want to tell me how to vote? Okay, we live in America. And this is not communist China, but I'll let you be a communist for 2 seconds. You tell me what to do.
Communist Sweden.
Communist Sweden. That's right. No, I was going to say some stats here about my team and the Rams teams. I'm looking at team stats here for both of these teams to pick this game. So in total defense, that's yards, that's touchdowns, that's points. The Rams are 10th. The Seahawks are 11th. In passing defense, the Seahawks are 19th. The Rams are 13th. In terms of rushing defense, Seahawks are 2nd. The Rams are 11th. But in terms of scoring, the Rams are 2nd. The Seahawks are 5th. So on the defensive side, they're close in every category. But here's where I'm going to give the edge to the Seahawks. They are the only team to be top 5 in scoring on offense and defense. There's no other team that's top 5 in both. They are first in explosive plays of 20 yards or more. They're 3rd in point differential, the Colts being 1, the Rams being 2, the Seahawks being 3rd in point differential. And by the way, all of this stuff for like yards and point differential, it's within a few points. It's really nothing there.
Close.
Yeah. Where I think the Seahawks have the edge here is this defense is 3rd in sacks despite having a bottom 3 blitz rate. So they are sacking the quarterback at an elite level without sending a fifth guy. They're doing it with 4 consistently every single time. No running back has ran more than 80 yards on them. A single running back has not run more than 80 yards. And where they are elite is in the red zone. They are 3rd in red zone offense. And if you look at DVOA, which I know some people know what that is, people don't, but I do want to give just a bit of a refresher on what DVOA is. DVOA analyzes every single play, determining its success compared to what is considered the league average. And it gives particular context. So a 10 yards on a 3rd and 5 is more valuable than 10 yards on a 1st and 10. It provides context. That's what DVOA does. It adjusts for the strength of a defense, the weakness of a defense, and the resulting stat is a percentage. A team with a 10+% DVOA is 10% better than league average, while a team with a -5% DVOA is 5% worse. So that's how it works. The Seahawks are the number 1 ranked team per DVOA, which includes special teams, offense, situations. The Seahawks are number 1 at 46% better than league average in the entire league. Do you want to know who number 2 is? The Rams. But the Seahawks are still number 1 in all of those. And so for me, I am going to take the Seahawks. You are getting better play from Matt Stafford. He's a clear-cut MVP runner, but Sam Darnold is top 10 in every statistical category. He's top 5 in a couple, and he's number 2 in QBR. The dude is slinging it. He's getting it done, and they are beating you in different ways. And so for that, I think that there's not a more complete team. If you look at special teams, the Seahawks special teams is elite. This defense is elite, and this offense is 3rd in is 5th in offense. Like, they're well-rounded as they come, but that defense to me is better than the Rams, and I'm going to take the Seahawks here.
I mean, it's a very strong comparison between the two. You can clearly see stylistically how these teams approach things. The Niners saw a ton of the 1-3 personnel this week in regards to a single wide receiver, 3 tight ends. The wide wing was absolutely massacring my team. The Rams beat you by picking you apart. And they have a quarterback that's capable of picking apart any defense, as long as he's upright. The Niners got 1 sack on him this week. And I think that's a huge consideration when you're looking at what these two teams can do. You're talking about how the Seahawks are getting after the quarterback consistently with 4. I think there's one component to even add into this that's not necessarily a statistical component, but when you look at the style of play of the Rams and how the defense of the Seahawks is set up, Puka and Adams can absolutely massacre everybody within the first 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. There is not a defensive back in the league that wants any part of those two guys right up front. And you can jam them, you can poke at them, you can try and do whatever you want to do. But those monsters just eat you up. And if you get one, the other one's open. Like, that's just how it works. Not to mention that Kyron Williams catches the ball in the backfield, and you got 3 guys at the tight end position that can catch the ball and make a positive play anytime. They played 4 tight ends in this game this last week. 4. Just to make sure that in that 3 tight end set, they were getting fresh legs. So they are scary, the Rams are, in the short yardage. I think that is something that could possibly expose stylistically what the Seahawks do. And obviously the Seahawks have not played against this type of combination of that 1-2 with the tight ends added because nobody else has it. And I'm not putting any other teams down. Genuinely, nobody has what the Rams have right now. And they seem to have really unlocked that here the last 3 weeks. They've developed Ferguson at the tight end position out of Oregon. That's been a huge development for them. I think this is scary. I think this is a 27-24 game. I don't want to give either team the edge in the end. I want to lean Rams because that's my fandom speaking, but I have no idea right now. When it comes down to Friday and we got to put these picks in, no clue what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch injury reports. I want to see where Devonta's at. He did get banged up against the Niners. I'd love to see if he's completely shaken that off. He tends to have injuries that linger and decide on whether or not he's playing. But yeah, this is going to be a heck of a matchup. This is the game of the week for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll lean Rams right now, but that's, again, heart.
Yeah, I'll go Rams, and it's not just because I hate the Seahawks. That's really not it. But I think, like you guys have already touched on, for me, if I match you have offensive weapons, If you got Puka, Devontae, Kyron Williams, you got JSN, Kenneth Walker third, Charbonnet. You've got guys on either side that can score. I think we're going back to the MVP conversation, though. Sam Darnold's not in that conversation right now for us, but Matthew Stafford is. And so that's really what tips it over for me, is that I think the home thing, I think matters less here. It doesn't seem to matter for the Seahawks. We're not going from like hot to cold, really. And so I don't know that matters as much, but I think the Rams are just, they're hard to beat right now. The Seahawks are too, but like the Rams are just, they feel like a train that's just moving, and it'd be hard to stop them. I think it's going to be super close. I'm talking like it could be a field goal. It could be like, I don't think this is going to be a blowout for either team. I really hope it's better game than as much as we're anticipating, rather than like the game tonight. We're hoping for a great one and it wasn't. I think it will be better. I think it's hard to put Puka and them in prime time and JSN and be like, when they're going to have fun. So like, but I think I would go Rams, and I agree. It'll be the game of the week. Like, I think it'll be fun to watch. And I don't normally say that about a Seahawks game.
The unit of the week that matters in this game, out of the 6 main units there, offense, defense, special teams for these two teams, is the special teams of the Rams. The Niners game was inconsequential this last week because it didn't matter. Like, the offense was just blowing up the 49ers defense. But in situations where they could have kicked field goals, Sean McVay said no, and they just went for it. And that unit has gotten beat up. Obviously, there's a reason they lost the Eagles. And so it will be very interesting to see if that's the difference maker in this game. And it very well could be, because it's the worst unit of those 6. Is that special teams for the Rams. We're staying with Brittany on another difficult game. Chiefs at the Broncos. We have discussed at length today. The Chiefs have come up a little bit. Chiefs are coming off a bye week, but they are traveling to Denver. Denver still has not hit their bye week and has played all 10 weeks, 8-2, mostly trash quarterbacks. Or like, who do you like in this game? Because I don't like either of them, Brittany.
I really don't like either. I don't like either. I think, again, like we talked about, we don't need to go over it, but Denver's not a loser record. They won, they're 5-0 at home. They won 7 straight. But Andy Reid is really good off the bye. He's 22-4 off of his bye week.
Out of the
and
week,
so
nice hit.
It's hard for me to go against that Andy Reid, and I still don't trust the Broncos. Like, I just don't. So I feel like, unfortunately, I do have to go Chiefs. I don't love the Chiefs, but I think, again, this is a little bit of a 50-50, but I think I'll go Chiefs this time.
Yeah. Grant, is there any reason for you to go against that? 22-4.
No, it's a better coach, just a better quarterback. Yeah. You tell me you don't think Patrick Mahomes is not going to be able to take advantage of this Broncos offense stalling out on 3 and outs, like giving up 3 or 4 of those. Tell me that the best quarterback that we've seen in a long time is not going to take advantage of that, the opportunities that the Broncos offense is going to give them. Absolutely. And Steve Spagnuolo is still coaching this defense.
Yep,
they're going to dial up. Do you really think that the Raiders do you really think that this Chiefs defense can't do what the Raiders defense did and still make the Broncos look terrible? Like, it's a much better Chiefs defense than the Raiders. And the Raiders defense made them look terrible.
Oh, I totally agree. I'm leaning the same direction, and for the reason that Brittany brought up, the 22-4 for Andy Reid, and also I'll add on to it because of the disgusting play calls that Sean did put in this last week. Sean Payton with one of the worst play calls I've ever seen in my life. It was just so bad. You got to call that into question. That's a dude that has a history of making fantastic calls in just the right moment. But I think he has just gotten so lucky with that schedule. And I just got to believe that the Chiefs took a week off, rested up, and said, hey, guys, let's go do what we do. And I think that's about to happen. So I'll lean that way with you for now. Again, we'll watch those injury reports, see where things are at this week. Our last one is the Bears at the Vikings. I on purpose put this one in here because we should say, based on records, that the Bears are going to win. Okay, this team's 6-3. They're coming off a comeback win. Their head coach has turned, alongside Ryan Poles, you got to admit, has turned this team around. As much as I hate admitting that, mostly because of Caleb Williams. By the way, I would be cheering for this team all the time if Caleb Williams wasn't on it. I just want that noted. No hate on the Bears themselves.
Just Caleb Williams.
But I love where the Vikings can be when they're whole. And I think that they have a great coach. This is a divisional game. The Vikings need it, and the Bears have been behind to some bad teams and gotten lucky. And obviously noting this last week against the Giants. So I put this one on here with that in mind. I'm leaning to the Vikings. I just think that the Bears can clearly get got, and the Vikings need this win. And realistically, they have a really good roster all the way around. If both Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are playing in this game, you got to feel pretty good about that. And McCarthy needs to buckle up and get this one done. They need to put up more than 19 points to get this win against the Bears. I think that's where Johnson can hurt you, but I would love to say this is probably in that 27-25 range, or maybe 24-21, somewhere like that, with the Vikings taking the dub. Grant.
I think I'm with you, and this is more of a gut thing. I just think the Vikings really need it. With this loss, the Packers have now puts them at the 7th seed, Bears at the 6th seed. Yeah, the Vikings have to win this to put them at 5-5 to stay in the hunt here.
Yep. And
this Vikings team did beat a Lions team. I didn't think they were going to do that.
Yep.
That's not nothing to shrug at.
Yep.
And so I'm going to go Vikings as well. I do think that McCarthy's going to have a better game than he did this past week. I don't think he's going to turn the ball over twice. If you take away that, he actually did play pretty all right. Just those were just crude. Obviously, the timing of those was killer. But
that was a Ravens team that is on its way.
Yeah, so I'm not going to hold that one against them too much. So I'm going to go Vikings.
Brittany, last one.
This year was a little bit hard for me, too. I think they met in week 1. The Vikings won by 3. But to me, they're different teams now than they were, obviously, then. I feel like I'm leaning Bears just because I feel like the Bears in recent weeks have found a way to win that I wasn't expecting. I feel like the Vikings have come back down to earth a little bit from that Detroit win that really probably they shouldn't have had. I don't know. It's hard for me either way. I think both teams aren't great, but the Bears, they score. It's just, I don't like Caleb Williams either. I wish that they didn't, but I think Baltimore they have 16 or something, but outside of that, they do score. And I agree, Minnesota really needs it. I love Justin Jefferson. I would love to see that, but I think it's going to be close. Obviously, the first time they played each other this year, it was close. I think it could be close again, but I think I'll lean Bears for now.
All right.
Lock it in. It makes sense. Like, you can see with a lot of these games that we're picking this week, you can see clearly how one play takes it one direction or the other. I really think that we picked a bunch of one-score games.
Yeah.
I really do. The one I could see going real south on us, or the two that I could, is that Chiefs-Broncos matchup. If the Chiefs come out and just take off with it, that could be crazy. I could also see that Dolphins-Commanders just getting out of hand one way or the other. We could be totally wrong on where we're leaning right now, but I think either one of those could. But the rest of them, the other three, I think those are definitely one-score games. And all currently clearly have the potential to be exactly that. Teams that are pretty evenly matched and in similar places right now when you really look at everything, including records for the most part, with the exception maybe that Chiefs and Broncos one. They're a little more spread out. Be fair, more of the Vikings actually and the Bears. But like all the potential in the world for a bunch of close games here. We need to cover one last thing before we go. We have mentioned a lot on this show that we have a friend who says insane things, and we're about to put him on blast because he says dumb stuff all the time, mostly to provoke us on this show. He's never been on the show. He's never asked to be on the show. He'll probably never be on the show because he makes me and Grant mad all the time. He has this stupid opinion about baseball that we hate, and that is that baseball is not a sport. He says insane things. I don't want JSN on my fantasy football team because the Seahawks worship the devil, and so I will have
a Satan worshiper on my team.
He said that to both of us, and so he traded him straight across after week 4 for Quentin Johnson. That has not worked out well.
Yes, it has.
JSN's had most points in fantasy football at the position since then. So What we want to know is, Brittany, why are you married to this person?
Listen, this is what I will say. Okay. Baseball season this year was a little bit rough because I am rooting so hard for my lifelong Mariner team that finally maybe is doing it right. Grant is busy having children. My brother's in Arizona. I'm like, who am I? What? Like, I'm by myself in my home rooting for the Mariners, right? I'm trying to talk to him about Shohei and like the unicorn that he is, and he has absolutely no idea what I'm saying.
No.
But we share the hatred of the Seahawks. Here's why. Because when you live in the Pacific Northwest and your teams are way far away, which he's a Packer, I'm a Steeler, neither one of us have ever been to a home game because they're so far away. They're expensive. We got to go sometime. But it's hard to be in the Pacific Northwest where they're surrounded by Seahawks fans. Then you are in the Pacific Northwest surrounded by Seahawks fans. When they win at Super Bowl, I got 6. They win 1. And then the Seahawks fans around here walking around like they something. Now, listen,
By the way,
Grant is okay. I will give this to Grant because he walked in one time with a Hasselbeck jersey, and I was like, bro, okay. Like, you actually are a Seahawks fan.
He
like
is a Seahawks fan.
But these bandwagoner Pacific Northwesters, and especially in Oregon, that have no NFL team, and they're like, oh. So I understand the hatred of the Seahawks. I absolutely would have had JSN on my team. I picked up Sam Darnold because I had a bye that I needed to fill with Josh Allen. Picked up Sam Darnold. He scored me points. I'm not crazy. I don't know if I'm answering your question at all.
You're not. No, I want to know why you married the man. Is it just because you hate the Seahawks? There's so many people that hate the Seahawks that you could have picked.
I could have married.
You could have.
I didn't.
This
I
dude
didn't-
drives me insane.
Listen, the baseball thing, I guarantee part of it is because he
It's
knows.
ignorant.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
that's
I'm
part
the
of it.
only person that he consistently brings this up with, and I am aware of that. Like, he said it to other people because I've had other people come to me and be like, have you heard that Damian is absolutely insane?
He knows you're talking about him.
Oh, yeah, he's listening now. Oh, yeah, his team's done losing on Monday Night Football. He's ready to, enter a chat.
I did know
get
they
it.
lose because he slammed his stupid little Lego phone, the new Motorola Razr, and he was like, "Ugh," and I just hear him, and I'm like, oh, I think they
Full
lost.
on outs him, his stupid little Lego phone.
It's the dumbest phone. It's so
Broke the
stupid.
phone. He opened the freezer. The ice cream's
I-
out.
I want him to know that
Reboot mode for week 11.
right now, this is the liveliest this has been for all 3 of us. This
Oh.
lively, and it's around our just
When you
hatred.
start talking about people that are just rage bait with sports,
There's nobody though easier to get discussing things than me, and that's fair. Like, all you gotta do is drop the point. I'll start talking it and tell you why you're wrong. It's fine.
it's true.
But your husband sticks to his insane ideology better than just about anybody out there. And I
You got to
will give him
respect
that
the
all
man
day.
for that.
He's very
do.
consistent.
He
He's
still has an
so
Android,
wrong.
so he's loyal. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why I married him, because he's loyal.
It's
I
the
knew he
loyalty.
was never going anywhere.
Man,
Yeah.
if this guy thinks that baseball is a sport this bad, that he's willing to bring it to Matt. You know what? I respect it. Put a ring on it right now. Let's just put a ring on it. You know what? We're bros for life. We're gonna hang out and we're gonna hate the Seahawks together. And you're a doofus, and your opinions are wrong, and your philosophy about fantasy football is insane. But fine.
This is a lot of talk of Seahawks hate when we're the only team that's won a Super Bowl.
You're
I
one.
believe- By
But
one, but it's the
you're
most
one-
recent. It's the most
Like,
recent.
Grant, I'm gonna do it.
I don't care.
Could have won 2.
But it
you
won
didn't
2.
know.
We didn't.
But you
we,
threw
but
at the
my
1
ball.
yard line.
we did. We threw at the 1 yard line, and that's stupid.
Listen,
But
I have told you we will not
the
talk
most
about
recent-
it if you don't bring this kind of crap up.
Most recent one here.
Congratulations. Both of us will take the ones we have over your one.
Grant, I
Matt,
defended you as a Seahawks fan about 2 seconds ago, bro. And
Saying,
here we
but you're
are.
throwing
Yeah,
things
we
at my
respect
team.
you. We hate your team, but we respect you for sticking with it. Like, it's all good. Like, you had to endure a lot of hate, and like you had to endure many hard years of like just sucking at football before you got that one Super Bowl. I get that. Like, there's that. And also, I will say, Grant is
And a rigged Super Bowl against your team, by the way. That's the most ridiculous thing ever.
It's not a rigged Super Bowl. That's wild to say.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Riggs. There was one play that
Rigged.
we could talk about.
Rigged.
We could talk about it.
Why not the whole thing?
Yeah, that's true. That's true too.
Asterisk.
Every Super Bowl, you could probably find a play or two,
Yes.
that
Start
really
going
matter.
through. Clips of the referees with the Seahawks.
Oh,
that's
come on.
that's a lot of clips.
That's a long
A lot of
conversation that
clips.
we do not have time for today. I mean, if you really want to have the referee conversation, which we've had a million times on this show, by the way, we are only talking about the Chiefs.
Correct.
That's the only
That's fair.
conversation we're having.
We can all agree
Everybody,
on that.
yeah, bring unity back to America. Chiefs hate 101. That's how you do it. Now, I just really wanted to bring that topic up. I've been holding on to a deeper dive discussion for the day that you were here. I've been holding on to that for 3 years. So thank you for engaging in that. I've been planning on discussing it for 3 years.
I love that you're discussing it with me and not him. Like he's not even. You're like he's never.
I don't
coming
want
on
to
here.
talk to him about baseball ever again. I don't want to. I just want to figure out how somebody can be married to that kind of insanity. All of that said, in the real world, I do Damian a lot. And as long as we're not talking about baseball and the
Then we're fine.
Seahawks or fantasy football anyway, Seahawks is fine. But or fantasy football, we're probably all right. No, I just forecasting out week 11. I just want to say if you are looking at the playoff picture, this week's a massive one. Getting back to it, again, divisional game with the Seahawks and the Rams is going to matter. The Niners have now split with the Rams on the season because they got them earlier in that overtime game on a Thursday night early. I think that was week 5. And the Niners will have the Seahawks later. So those could determine a huge mix-up in what happens at the end of the season, those divisional games. If you're looking at the Chiefs' potential playoff spot, the Bears and their desire to make the playoffs, the Bills, and can they keep it alive to try and win that division? Because it just looks like they're trending down when the Pats are moving up. There's so much going on in Week 11 when it comes to the playoff race and the implications thereof. This is the first time we're really getting into that playoff discussion, and it's just going to become all the more as we work our way down the back half of the season. Excited for Week 11 and all that comes with it. And I genuinely, all the best to a couple of guys that got injured this week, hoping to see Jackson Dart back on the field really soon. That one in particular stuck out to me. I will say for you guys, by the way, this was the 49ers' first week where they had 0 injuries. This is the first game we made it.
Hang the banner. Hang
It took 10 weeks
banner.
of football
Well then,
for us to not talk about the Niners and
Crazy.
IR. I'm feeling good on that one, but I would love to see Jackson Dart back out there. Excited to continue to see Joe Flacco play football. Jameis Winston to get out on a football field. For the love of God, make it happen, New York. And also excited to continue to see what Lamar does as those Ravens hopefully build on the momentum gained. So tune in for it. It's going to be a great week. Hopefully it doesn't end up with the bookended 10-7 games on your primetime Thursday night and Monday like Week 10 did. Can only go up from here, everybody. So have a great Week 11. We'll see you on the flip side.